Hello buddies, I'm Nonit and today we will talk about the China three-child policy. As you know, there is recently China relaxed its two-child policy and adopted the three-child policy. So let's talk about. So what are the learning objectives of this lesson is the why China three-child policy in news, what are the causes and what are the factors which forced the China to adopt the three-child policy, aim of China three-child policy, challenges of implementation of three-child policy, and what is the way forward and what is the Indian context or India. Does India need to learn something or India need to adopt the forcible child population control like that? So let's talk about why China three-child policy in news. So recently, China relaxed its two-child policy which adopted in 2015 and allowed married couples to have three children. This announcement came after the recently held census in 2020 and after a meeting of 25 members under the Chinese President Xi Jinping to address the population problem during the 14th five-year plan, that is the 2021 to 2025. Now, what are the factors? What forced the China to adopt the three-child program? Before that, we have to look at a brief history of population, why China adopted the one-child policy, why second-child policy, and then the third-child policy. So what happened in the 20th century that there are reports coming and that reports is saying that at the end of the 20th century, the China has the fear to reach the 1 billion population. And that's why the Chinese leader at that time wanted to control the population. And similarly, in 25th September 1980, China officially implemented the one-child policy. And in 2007, China even penalized the people for producing more than one child. Although it controlled the 4 crore unwanted birth but lead to the gender imbalance, more boys than boys, and that's why there are the 3 crore 35 lakh boys as compared to men's are produced because of there is a one child policy. And at that time there is the social taboo that the boys are more comfortable than the girls, and that's why boys are more producing by Chinese women. So that's why this led to the one child policy. And what is the setback of one child policy? Then the reports came, and from 2012 the China think about the relaxing its first child policy, and in 2015 China relaxed and adopted the two child policy, but this policy failed to address the challenges and it causes the new challenges like the gender imbalances and whatever is the, that's why the now China is adopting. And what is the main factor why the failure of the two child policy is the aging population. Now the China is becoming more and more aging country and more closing to the Japan, and that's why now the China adopted the three child policy. So what are the reasons? What factors actually lead to this conclusion? The first is the failure of the two child policy. Why this failure of the two child policy? Because of the gender imbalance, aging population of the country, and it lead to the more gender imbalance, female infanticide, official force and sterilization, and this is the cumulative effect of one child policy and two child policy, that now there is a norm to not produce more than one children, and this is leading to the one child norm. And that's why now the people of China don't want to produce more than, maximum is the two children, but they don't want to produce more than one children. Second is the most important reason which forced the China to adopt the three child policy, that is the aging population of China. As you know, aging population. So let's talk about the some data and we try to understand through the data. So recent census held, and according to the census 2021 of China, that is the population of China is 1.41 billion, we can say the 1.41 crore according to the 2022 census. And in 2019 China produced the 1.2 crore children and born lowest since 1961, and this is the one of the concern. And in a decade 72 million were produced during the 2010 to 2020 and born in a decade. So what is the annual growth? Annual growth is 0.53% and decadal growth is 5.38%. According to the 2020 census, there is a 264 million people which is 60 years of age, which is over 60 or 60 years of age. And what happened in the last decade, there is a 5.5% going up. And at the other hand, that there is a 894 million population during the age of 15 to 59, and it went down by this almost the 7%. So what is happening that on the one side, the aging population on over 60 years of population, it is becoming and it is going high and high, and at the same time the productive or workforce population is going down and down. And what the report says that it can be 700 million by 2050. So this is what happening, that is the overall population ratio is increasing, and China is becoming more and more aging country, and this is the main concern which forced the China to adopt the three-child policy. Again, if you look that, as we know that there is a one-child norm. So what is happening? There is a 1.69 fertility rate in 2018. If you compare it with the India, it is 2.2. Similarly, if you look at the average age of China, that is the 37, and India 29, and Japan is the 48. And that's why the average age, if you look at the China, 37, and it's becoming more and more aging. So it can more closer to the Japan and Italy also, and becoming more and more aging. So that's why the China is adopted the three-child policy. Another is the population or aging population can hamper the economic growth of China as well. Another is the most important reason which given by the people, and even the survey or official survey, and even the poll conducted by the news agency, and that's why. So third reason is the lack of incentive by government to family to produce more children. So look at the data. In 2005, to raise one children or to becoming more able, that we parents need to spend $25,000, but in 2020 now it is the $3 lakh. This is the one of the most contentious reason. That's why people is not raising more children and not producing the more children, and even not more than two. So if you look in the yuan currency, in 2005 it is 4,79,520, but in 2020 it is 19,81,110 respectively. So that's why. So this raised the huge cost and feel burden to keep people or to raise the huge cost and feel burden to couple, and that's why couple are not interested to producing more children. If you look, an official survey conducted by the China in 2015, and 70% population cited the financial reason for not choosing to have more children. Again, in online poll by Xinhua, which is an official news agency of China, conducted, which consists of 31,000 people, 28,000 do not want three children at all, and 1,600 said that they will produce. Another is the why China is adopting the three-child policy. The fourth reason is the fear of picking up population. Now look, Chinese demographers are saying that China may peak at 2025 and 2030, and then the population will decline. And that's why the China is adopting the three-child policy. And in data also said by 2050 there is a 700 million population. So whatever we have discussed, that these are the main factors which forced the China to adopt the three-child policy. So China adopted the three-child policy. Let's talk about what is the aim of China to adopt the three-child policy. The first and the most important reason for adopting to solve the China population structure. The second is the actively respond to the aging population, preserve the country human resources, and to make one workforce available and boost the economic growth. Now obviously this is the aim of the China three-child policy, but there are some challenges of implementation. The first challenge is the financial constraint, as the people is not interested to have three child at all, and that's why because of the financial constraint. Second is the breaking the norm of one child in their mindset, which has fixed that we have not to produce more than one children. So what is the breaking the norm of one child or to change the mindset of Chinese people is very, very important. The third we have to take as a precautions that in the rural areas, obviously China is forcing the not to produce more than one children or two children when the policy was implemented, but in the rural area they are producing more than two or more than three even. So obviously China has to take a precautions that in the rural areas couple will not produce more than three children, as it has the another demographic dividend and it will implications, another type of implication will take place. So what is the way forward, what Chinese government can do and can incentivize the people to produce more than three children and even less three children, at least three children, to meet its aging demand and whatever workforce to boost economic growth, etc. So what Chinese government can do, Chinese government shall provide this some intensive to people to raise the child holistically and change the mindset of people and raise awareness. This is the most two important point which you can say the Chinese government will do, and it will help the Chinese couple to produce more children, and it will solve the population problem of China, and China will become more and more younger. Now let's talk about the India. So obviously the China is adopting the three child policy, but in India there are the some people who want this two child policy, and obviously the some states have passed the two child policy like the Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, recently Assam, and their policy. Although in parliament there are the ministers has clearly said India will not adopt any two child policy. Although Indian Prime Minister from the Red Fort said to the people that our family should have the small family. So there are the indirectly indicating about the two child policy, but there is the no national law in the country right now. So look at the average age of India. Average age of India is the 29. At the 35 age, more than 50% population, and below 35 age there is the 65% population, and this is not going to decline at all by 2048. So India has no demographic collapse and nothing like that, although there are the some concerns we need to raise by the family planning, either the forcing the couple to not produce more than two children or by debarring from the election, etc., whatever the people of India, or there are the some people who are talking about. Now look at the recently data came from the National Family Health Survey 5 showed that the fertility rate declined in almost states except few like Bihar and all, and this is all about. So India has no worry to adopt the any two child policy, and although to control. So obviously there is this some people which is demanding, but India doesn't need, and experts are saying that India's demographic dividend is stable and workforce population is very high in India, and this is not going to decline by 2048 according to some report. Thank you guys, hope you will like this video. You should subscribe my channel to get more such videos. Thank you so much.